Good afternoon. Soon it's after 1. We're running just a few minutes late. Good to see you all. It's been a while since we've been all together. We'll start our meeting and begin with our opening prayer. If I have a volunteer for opening prayer, I know we.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we want to thank you for this opportunity to gather together and work through this agenda as a board. But we also want to take a moment and just recognize those in our community who worked so hard this summer to keep the rest of us safe. And just ask for their continued safety as they're working on mopping up fires in the region. We ask for special mercy for any that are sick or ill. And as always, we just want to ask for guidance and wisdom as we work through this agenda. And your name.
Thank you. Okay, attendance, please.
David? Here. Curtis?
Here.
Teresa Walton-Collins?
Here.
Clayton Matt?
Here.
Roger Noble?
Here.
Jay Anderson?
Here. Okay, as always, we announce meeting minutes are on the DNRC and CSKT website, and I think I mentioned that if anyone online from the CSKT is watching last month, I checked and didn't see updated minutes on the tribal website, so I'm hoping that I'm keeping that up, and I did see them on the DNRC website, so they're there. Anybody who has an interest in those. 1.4, disclose any potential conflicts of interest. General agenda today. So Ken, anything?
None.
Georgia?
None.
Teresa?
None.
Roger?
None.
No. Shane?
Apologies.
Okay. No conflicts of interest, and I have none. And to adopt the agenda, any comments or questions on the agenda? And if not, I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda. Motion by Teresa. Second by Ken. I have one comment. We're going into executive session. And I know we want to, and I don't know how long that's going to take. But just for the record, I want to make sure everybody knows what I'm thinking, at least, that if we want to come out of executive session, discuss any items, and then I'd like to reserve the opportunity to maybe go back into executive session toward the end if we need to. So just a comment. I don't know that we'll need to. I just want to get that on record just in case. May or may not be the case, but just wanted to bring that up. So any other comments on the evening? We have a motion and second. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And approved. Okay. Public comment for items not on the agenda. Anybody in the audience? I see folks shaking. No. Anybody online that have public comments?
We don't have anyone from the public online.
Okay, nobody from public online for the record, and so we will close the public comment section. And so we want to, my understanding from our last meeting and other conversations is that the board wanted to have some private time to just have some discussion. And so with that, we will go ahead and whatever the proper language is that especially related to personnel items that the board wants to be on the same page about. Leave privacy outlays for the public need to know. So we will go into executive session. So if we could stop the recording. We're going to go into executive session with just the board members. And the only request I
Oh, there was a lot. There you go. Okay, just a second, Mr. Chairman. You muted?
I'm muted.
All right, excellent. Mr. Chairman, please, thank you for your patience with our technical problems. Do proceed. We got it, we got it. Second shot there, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Members online, welcome back. We are out of executive session. And just a couple comments. One, it's important for the board to meet periodically to just continue to talk about our overall strategy, priorities, goals, and we want to continue to do whatever we can to help and to be successful. We know the staff wants to be successful. So there are three things we will do now. First of all, the board would like to consider taking action to allow for a health insurance stipend for existing and new hire employees until such time as we have a permanent health insurance plan in place. With that, if the board is inclined, the motion to do that. Yes.
I'll make a motion, that the board adopt a stipend of $700 per month for a healthy. Currently, I think is already covered, that would be limited right now to Christie and James. And we want it to be a health savings account type of stipend so that it doesn't get taxed as if it were salary. So there will be, we'll have to investigate that a little bit and see that it qualifies under the right type of designation for tax purposes. But anyway, that's the most. And then that would, and I know there's a job advertisement out right now, so that if we get potential candidates for that position, then we can at least assure them that they have some sort of health insurance that they apply.
Summarize that motion. We have a motion to allow for a $700 stipend to create a health insurance savings plan for existing employees, Ethan, and new hires. So do I have a second?
Can I make a comment, Mr. Chairman?
Let me get the second first. Teresa. Second by Teresa. Okay, comments.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, and didn't know what we were going for here. To give the board an update, the board did take an action on a healthcare stipend for Ms. Brooks at your last meeting. The board has already been paying a stipend that is in excess of $700 a month for Mr. Frakes. So this would be a degradation of the existing benefit package. That happened at hire.
Okay, let's stop with that comment.
Yes,
Roger?
I was not aware of that. So, I
So
think with
let's summarize. So everyone covered down under something temporarily for now until we have health insurance plan.
Yes.
Okay. So we have, with that clarification, we have a motion and a second. Or you wish to withdraw your second?
I would amend that.
Amend the motion, so
Yeah,
we will amend the motion.
to revise it
Just new hires one.
new hires, limited new hires. Christie, are you fully compensated with your health insurance coverage?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, maybe if we were going to have that kind of a conversation, we would need to go to a closed session.
Right now,
Have a second now an amended motion. So could you state the motion again?
the motion then new hires that we offer $700 health insurance stipend. Until we have a fully implemented health program.
Motion by Roger. Do I have a second? Second by Teresa, comments.
And we went into the executive session to discuss personnel matters. You reserve the right to come into open session and then later in the day, necessary, return to executive session. So I would like to, one second motion on the floor, but number two, exercise the option for the board to go into executive session later to answer the question related to that particular employee.
Good. Good, board member. Okay. We have a motion, amended motion and a second on the floor. Let's take the vote. Ken? Yes.
Yes.
Who's not voting? Okay, yes. You have it. Okay.
But Mr. Chairman, board members, I do not believe we can enter into an HSA agreement without a full-blown health insurance program. That has been what has been explained to me by the health insurance vendors that we've talked to. And a pre-tax solution would require an agreement that we don't have yet.
If the motion was for $700 per month health insurance stipend, that wouldn't have to be much. It would be at least when we hire somebody, we have some funds that can cover some health insurance until we're there.
Okay. And we have the motion said it's been approved, so we need to revisit that another time. We'll do that, so if we could. Do you have any technical discussion we need to have on that after today? Then we can have that.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Teresa, you have something?
I think that following that executive session, there was a second action item related to,
There's two more.
yes,
I have two more.
yes.
So, board is interested in creating a health insurance committee. Could I volunteers for health insurance committee?
I would.
Roger? And we probably can't go more than three, so two, we need one more. Okay. Now it's health insurance committee, and they will be following up with Ethan on health insurance plan and coverage and bringing that back to the board. Right. We need to take action in creating that committee. Let's do it. All right. Motion to appoint a committee. Motion by Teresa. Second by Georgia. Include the health committee and Roger as members. Motion and second, all in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Opposed, none? Okay. The second or third item was a personnel committee. You want to go the same route? Let's see who wants to volunteer, then we'll take action. Teresa? Teresa?
Experience, but willing to help.
Teresa and George. Okay, so motion,
okay, I'll make the most. Personnel subcommittee.
motion to create a personnel subcommittee. Second by Ken. And the members of the, at this point, Teresa and Georgia, all in favor, say aye.
I
Aye. Okay. Opposed? None. Okay. So for now, that is what the board wanted to achieve for today. We'll move on with the rest of the agenda. Board business, approve meeting agenda minutes from August 10th. So you have in your packet meeting minutes from August 10th. So be it as usual. And there are no changes to that. And you're ready?
again, I'm looking at this. I the this was issues that existing. Six.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was 8 or 6.
No,
So,
can't see.
Now you're gonna-
can you provide some?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, this is for when an applicant is asking for verification of an existing water right. That would be a state-based water right that existed before this board. They need to get verification that the water right is a valid and legitimate water right before they can go through DEQ subdivision and sanitation application.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Ken, there is no authority for DNRC to verify water rights that are on the reservation anymore because they are no longer the water right administrators on the reservation. They offered a temporary solution until our office solved this long-term solution.
Kathy Olson did make that offer.
On a temporary basis.
But my concern is the liability for would incur by interpreting a state-based water right. The one example we had was for that small 2-lot subdivision or whatever. And DNRC interpreted it entirely different than what the prima facie evidence on the water right abstract said. So I think that it goes a little beyond our, I'm concerned that it might go a little, we might wind up in a situation where we're in some
Mr. Vice Chairman, your legal counsel did review that topic for what it's worth. Just because I knew that that would be something that would be of concern. And did agree that for that type of water right activity, that would be administration of water rights on the reservation. Now, I did not invite her here today, and certainly if you wanted to have additional consultation, we can arrange that for another board meeting, but
I know we didn't invite, are they on the meeting today? Are they online today?
they're not online today. We do have a memo that is, touches on that topic as well. I can distribute that
From,
from legal counsel.
okay. Let's go ahead and distribute that. We'll do that. And then Ann has asked for an actual discussion with legal on that point. So, I don't think anything changes on the action. It stands until we decide different, but you want further discussion, which is appropriate. So, does the board want to have that discussion with the legal? And I don't.
Yeah.
So we'll have the memo in front of us, and then at the next opportunity we have, we'll have them online to have a discussion. So, I see heads nodding, so consensus at least. So, okay.
I will offer a couple other considerations. One, this board and its administration through our office does have the ability to change a water right, and to change a water right, you are in fact looking at that existing state-based water right, determining what that water right is and the validity of that water right. It is not always going to be a prima facie evidence, because there is typically a higher level of scrutiny applied for changing a water right than what would be used by the water court for verifying a claim. And in fact, the claim examination and the rulings the water court makes does oftentimes go beyond prima facie evidence. But I'll offer that we are already in the hot seat for that, for changes. And
But we don't even have a change application developed yet, so I don't know why we'd be in the hot seat yet if we can't. We don't even have a form or a procedure for that.
we do have the responsibility for it, though.
In the ordinance you're saying.
Yes.
When we're there, I agree with you, and then it's gonna be our responsibility to do that, but we're not. And that's for a change. This is for something different. This is for a subdivision and sanitation, just DEQ, which are two entirely different things. So,
This is also
have a clarification and have an opinion by legal.
Then we can add that piece to your question and discussion when we move it.
Yeah.
So point taken. So, you want that at the next regular meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. If you would, please. We'll have that next regular meeting. Consensus on that part. Thank you. Okay. That was that item. Any other questions or discussion on the August 10 minutes?
No action on the emergency parties reporting. It looks like there was some questions from me, and I think there's an email not responded to yet in that regard as well. I try to get to that.
Okay. And I think, yeah, and I think my impression is that having been in the middle of the fire season and dealing with all of that, I think it, you know, became the top of everybody's mind at the time. We weren't here, I think there was some thought that you would have some good input on that, but I think that's appropriate, that we can probably continue that preparation for any future activities, because I think we're talking about largely wildfires. There may be other fire circumstances, but in your, for your particular case, likely wildfires, you're going to be very bothered. We know there have been. Yeah, and there may be more. Will be more. If we can make sure we, or will you be prepared to have us add that to the agenda, our next regular meeting? Okay. That also.
Sure.
Please. Thank you. Any other comments on the August 10 minutes? If none, I'll take a motion to approve when you're ready. Bruce. Motion to approve as stated by Ken with future discussion pending. Second by Teresa, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Abstain, one abstention. All right. Thank you, thank you. Okay, I have us up to 5.2 Helena Water Loss Conference attendance. Just so you know, I do not plan on attending this year. I'm the one invited to the presentation this year, but it's always an interesting meeting, but I don't personally plan to. It doesn't mean you shouldn't if you want to, and I did know that there were some emails of people interested in that. So anyway, that's on the table now. Helena Water Loss Conference. Do you need something from the board on that today?
Yeah, if the board wants to send members, it needs to take an action to do so.
So who is interested? Roger and Ken? Teresa, Roger, and Ken. So we're gonna take action. You didn't get a chance to last week.
You know, I did not, I honestly, I just have got, kind of too much work here to do it. I mean, if I can find a way to get over there, I will, I guess. You don't actually have to approve me to go, though. It's the board members. You can tell me to go if you want to.
All right, for the board. Take a motion.
Show that. Or authorize the travel for. On the water conference.
Second by Georgia. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none.
Mr. Chairman, just as a reminder, if you could, if you guys could do what you could to book your meetings and ask to see if you can get a government rate in Helena on the Sooner side, that is consistent with the board bylaws on travel and such. So
The meetings, or you mean the room?
the rooms, excuse me. Yep.
Ready?
Okay.
Yeah. Moving on, water engineer update, item 6.1, office of engineer budget. So you're gonna have a budget discussion with us at this point.
Yeah, so where we're at with things is we did, as of this morning, receive EFT from the Montana DNRC for their half of the appropriations. That money has gone into the board's money market account. Folks who had requested to have online access to the board's accounts, which would include Roger, Ken, Clayton, Ethan, Marie Fong, our payroll person, and Christy Brooks have supposedly had now the opportunity to log in and sign up and set things up. I did want to take a quick moment to check and see that all went through.
It did for me. I looked, when I looked at the time, I saw one account that had some $4,000 in it.
Mm-hmm.
At the time I looked, if I was seeing correctly, I didn't see anything in another account, so I don't know if I'm seeing them both. I should probably give them a call and just walk through all of it and make sure I'm doing it correctly. But
Sure.
otherwise, I was able to get in
And when was the last time you did that, Mr. Chairman?
last week sometime.
So they hadn't moved the money in
Right,
until
yeah.
this morning. So you would have seen zeros under that money market account. So for what it's worth, but just trying to follow up on the action on the bank account arrangements and access arrangements.
I got on yesterday, saw the same thing, what the balance was. Yeah, the money hadn't been transferred yet, it was $0.
And that was from the state tribal balance.
That is the state balance has been transferred and is in there now and verified this morning. The tribal EFT has not come through as of the last time I looked at it, which was 10 o'clock this morning.
And I saw you've been in touch with them to
Yes, I have.
clarify that, and they're looking into it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I will note that is a very different timeline than what we had expected in terms of transfers. And I'm working now to try to figure out how we need to manage our annual budget to accommodate this 8-week lag period, which
If that's gonna be a continuous thing, but yeah, and I had thought after I signed the funding agreement, things were gonna be fairly quickly, but
yeah,
it's been over a month since yeah, appreciate you following up, and in the meantime, the board is inclined, if you can do anything from me in terms of follow-up, let me know.
yeah, Mr. Chairman, I do not think I need anything at this time. I do appreciate you sticking with me on the phone to fill out that online process, because that was a little more involvement than I wanted to have to put you through, but obviously necessary. And this will finally give us a little bit more real-time access to funds and such. Now I've also taken that information. I've started to make us a more mature budget that looks at the projections. My understanding when I talked to the board last is that you really wanted to see budget allocations for some of the items that we had talked about, and that is like right on the cusp of being in your hands to see the positions that I'm suggesting, show allocations for different benefits that would be needed so that it will help the newly formed health benefits team and the personnel team figure out these important decisions. I did expect to have it fully completed, but we've had an extremely busy amount of water right work recently, and so it's been a pretty much nonstop as things are coming through.
In the budget, will also sort of delineate and itemize all of the operational items.
It does already account for propane, rent, electric. IT is a moving target. I think I'm closer to having some resolution on the IT situation. I'm happy to offer an update if you would like, or we could do that at the breakout, which might be more appropriate.
Teresa?
Yeah, I have a question about the budget. So, my assumption is that it's allocated by the state or the tribes, that there are certain functional or cost categories that it comes over in. The personnel versus operations. Is that correct or not correct?
There were some gross estimates with a lot of flexibility written into at least the last funding agreement. Now, I do not have, nobody has given me the current funding agreement, so there may be.
Let's see if we can get a copy of that. Would you please?
I absolutely will, Mr.
Because
Chairman.
I would have to go back and, but I ended up being a signatory, and then it was supposed to process, so, it all came through under a thing where I had to do an electronic signature. If I did that, I can't say for sure if I actually have the funding agreement in hand, but if we can get a copy of that to the board, that would be appreciated.
Absolutely, sorry.
Yeah.
Follow-up question. So then as the budget is created, recommended for board adoption, then I would assume that there also are parameters that guide how the budget is administered in terms of line item transfers or discretion. So I'm assuming that at some point this board would also approve that when they approve the budget, which is tied to the staff. And then the other part of that is, do we have any required annual reporting for the funds that come over?
We do have required reporting. We do share the reports that are currently created by our payroll services with the state and the tribes that have thus far seemed to accommodate our reporting requirements.
So there's no like year-end report or year-end audit or reconciliation?
We do not have any audit mandates. We will go through periodic review of the budget, and if this board wants something more than what it ends up seeing with the projected budget, that will be kind of updated as costs go from being projected to realized. I'm happy to do what we can there. It is an array of information, as you might imagine at this point, that comes into the budget, because we have our payroll services, we have direct items out of our checking account, got just that regular set of costs that the office sees, plus irregular one-time expenses that need to be accommodated as well. But the upshot here is that we have excellent record keeping thus far, and trying to parse out exactly how much detail this board would like to see in a budget for approval is something that I am soliciting feedback on. You could see, we could take salaries on an annual basis and plug those into a more generic year-long budget, or we could do which is probably my preferred, which is do a monthly budget projection. But does the board want to see every payroll item in the budget projection? That's something the board will have to decide how much detail they'd like to see.
Roger.
Two questions. One question, two comments. So when the DNRC transfer came over, the state transfer, did it come over as a lump sum, or did it come over with line item budget things in there?
I got an EFT for a lump sum of money. It does not have any earmarks on anything I have, but again, I do. Just a reminder, I have not seen the funding agreement that Chairman signed, so I wasn't included in that package.
No, for myself, and all the other boards that I'm on, we approve annually. we need to look.
So let me suggest something in the budget framework that is, maybe it would be good to see a, draft budget outline.
This is a draft budget outline. And this is an approach that has salary and options for retirement benefits, goes down, talks about other expenses that we typically see. You'll see a lot of what our past monthly expenses have been times 12 to get us to an annual type of level. This is one option that I thought was perhaps manageable for the board for purposes of looking at the money that's coming in, and and then where we'd have the total appropriation here, and then we end up with some of the expenses and start looking at. And this is not got all of our items in here. Board members, please bear with us as we develop this into a more thorough package for you. But it does have a fair amount of buffers built into it presently, and these items would need board consideration before they became more fixed, of course. So these are just things that I'm trying to work up and work through right now to give them to you so you can make some more concerted decisions on what to do. One thing that's certainly missing and always a hard predictor will be the board expenses. And so we'll have those lined out in here as well. And the board, as you can imagine, has some irregular expenses, so they're a little hard to project, but we can generally, I've been trying to plan on at least one meeting a month. If this board wanted to, have me plan on a 2 meeting a month plus conference type arrangement, whatever you need, just let me know.
Remind us, are we on a federal or state fiscal year?
Right now we're on a calendar fiscal year, but I'm second guessing that decision, Mr. Chairman, because if I don't see any money until September, it makes it for an awkward
Yeah. So
an awkward
is that a decision we made?
transition. We did make a decision to have the fiscal year serve as our calendar year. Yep. And mostly under the recommendation of our accounting services.
So for right now, it's calendar year.
Yep.
So what we probably want to do is, soon as possible, is get to the budget for this year, and then immediately start looking at that projected budget for the coming year. So we can get our eyes on it, see what we're thinking. And so with this, any thoughts at this moment from the board about the budget outline? How it looks, how you want it broke out, and if not, then certainly be thinking about it, because I think about, obviously everyone's got their own experience that especially working coming from my experience. There's a certain frame of reference I have in my head, but maybe what you see up here works exactly how you want it. But thoughts and comments about how to frame that would be Probably something we need to consider.
Again, this is rough with the understanding we have been updating our expenses with the new online access that we've just achieved. Thanks to Christy Brooks for getting us some good work on our budgeting spreadsheets, and she's been developing those over time so that we can help to estimate some things. I have quite a bit of work to do on the payroll pieces with Marie Fong at this time, and still tussing out the retirement aspects. I am happy to report that finally, after other transfers that have happened today, is that we have now seen finally retirement hit our PERS accounts after an exhaustive back and forth with the state and Empower trying to get that arranged. And so it's caused us some complications because we were promised that pathway would be set up before it actually was, and we've had some money taken for retirement out of a couple of pay periods that'll have to be reimbursed, and it's been a bit frustrating, but to no fault of our accountant or anything that happened in this office or the board's action to adopt that retirement plan. But I do think and positively hope that we've got those wrinkles ironed out. The famous last words, I know, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, so just a quick thought, planning this, it would be good to have, we want to be able to construct it, it's really good, you got it, really bad. We also want to be able to just some, what's our personnel?
Sure.
What's our,
Operating.
building costs? Things like that. Yeah, things, just some courser that might go into end of year report. I mean, this is good for us. And we can also using it for other reporting formats, and you can see pie charts and stuff.
I would appreciate like an annual budget overview that has general categories like Shane described: personnel, fringe benefits, operating, travel, whether it's local travel, out of area contracts. So those general categories, and then I don't know if we get quarterly expenditure reports or
Quarterly is what you're typically operating on now for purposes of the state. It doesn't mean you have to settle on that, but that's and if you will, let me just
and then just a comment, not fully appreciating or understanding this lag business, between budgets, but I would assume, or I would think that we have a policy for no deficit spending. So, or some sort of resolution or policy for no deficit spending. So however we arrange the budget, if in fact there's going to be an 8-week lag that reoccurs annually, we have to navigate how we're going to cover our expenses during those 8 weeks. Roger, did I say that wrong?
Oh, that's right on. One, maybe those fund transfers will happen earlier in the future. I don't know.
that is not the message that I got from the state of Montana. Yeah, either that or trying to see if we have enough left over for a buffer, which I don't actually think we would have got in hot water if we had been built out to a higher level. And which is part of why I had made a decision to delay hiring until the transfer happened.
Well, as
And-
part of the budget discussion, then, moving forward, we should include a civic discussion, an assessment about the fiscal year. And without making any changes, right, should have that discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. And just for, based on some of what I just heard, I would like to point out, this is how Christie has got some things organized on our monthly expenses. And I believe that it's probably in step with what you're talking about. And I'm just in the process right now of trying to move some things over and do some longer term perspective budgeting and oh, yes, ma'am. Oh. Yep,
That I think Clayton's probably thinking of.
this one here. Thank you, Christy.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, and so we're underway, and we've had some data gaps with but the online access and things are really helping us out here now, and we do think we've finally gotten all of the billing moved from the tribes to our office, which is a surprise to learn that we're still managing that issue, but it's not at the fault of the tribes, but some vendors have a hard time switching gears, and then sometimes things get lost in translation. So
An education process.
yes, certainly. Yes.
It's a question, not a recommendation. On the original overall budget that showed the state, the federal appropriation.
Yes. And these are rounded a little up, okay?
If I'm correct in this, we could also put to the income side, if it were the income we get from processing and
Yep.
the interest from them.
And this morning is when I was trying to better project what I think those are. I mean, we recently had pretty high turnovers for applications. Sometimes we have slow months. So I was kind of working on earlier today is how I'd like to have that as an income source, but put it as a tentative income source, and so that we could possibly look at tying non-essential expenses to that particular bundle of money, because it's not a guarantee how many people are going to come in and apply for things.
In that vein, if it's possible, especially through this first year, I'd like to throw out the idea that piece of the income not be touched for the first year, and that what we plug into the following year's budget is what we've actually taken in, so that what goes into that piece of the budget is actual income, not projected income.
Yeah.
For that first year, we actually forego the expenses out of those. If we did that, then there's no guessing. We know that the money that's in there was generated the previous year.
No, I was just trying to be clear, go back and nothing. It looks like the average monthly expense is about 40 grand. So the question is, if we want to avoid that deficit situation, do we make enough of the money permit fees, processing fees to cover that? I don't know. Okay.
I mean, that makes, yeah.
Oh, good, done.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to the appropriations that we're getting, what we got today and the federal piece of sort of coming, right?
Well, it's so the state piece is here. This piece right here has not actually transferred. Yep.
So for the state piece, is that your fiscal year 24?
Yes, and so they have a 2-year allotment, which again, I need to get a hold of the funding agreement to make sure that both years are equal on that front, so that you know, because this is 1 year. Yes,
So it's really, well, yeah, so 2-year appropriation, probably 1 year at a
yes.
state. And then from the feds, it would be single year appropriation. Fiscal year and it's September. So,
We do call it from the tribes though, just for, it's a small clarification, but I believe it's an important one. So they have different fiscal years. Yep.
So we would, so are we expecting, federal appropriation?
My understanding is that it should have either happened or will imminently happen. It may have happened while we're talking. I'm not going to log on while we're on the on the internet right now, but
States is 24. And the tribal 23. Would we expect to see a tribal 24 in November, December? So I'm just wondering about how, you know, we got staggered, our appropriations are staggered. And how do we fit our fiscal year? It may be better to have it where it is. And you know, calendar year, because those funds are always delayed from the fiscal year.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm trying to figure out is, you know, are we going to see another CCPE, you know, one coming right up, you know, we see another one.
Let me pause here just for a second. So is Melissa online? Melissa, you there?
I'm not even paying attention to the.
Melissa, can you join us, please?
I am,
Melissa, I'm seeing your email. So the board members have now received emails from Melissa, which is one is a copy of the signed funding agreement. And 2, you had an email about financial reports, and I think that's mostly for Ethan to see, but it's there. So you've been listening to our conversation and you see your emails, but I wanted to give you a chance to chime in if you have something to add.
well, I just, wanted the board to know the annual funding agreement. I emailed it out to everybody so you can see it. It does have an attached budget. We did not have the benefit when we drafted the funding agreement of a budget proposal from the board, and so we just took what we had. It is going to be different this year as opposed to the next year. In part because there was one-time only money allocated by the legislature. And so that was $185,000 as one-time only startup costs for vehicles, computer, whatever one-time only cost the board would have, as well as, you know, just basing it off of what we had done in the previous 2 funding agreements, again, without the benefit of any draft budget from the board. We went with what we could discern from the financial reports we had. The most recent financial reports that we have received were from March and April of this year. We have not received anything since the April report.
Check on that.
Why would that be?
I think they come directly from our accounting firm. So we need to check on them. Is that correct? That's where they come from?
Yep. And I'll double check on that.
Okay.
I didn't know that they hadn't.
Now and then.
I didn't know that they hadn't gotten them recently. So just all I need is a.
Oh, I used to receive them directly from Marie. Ethan, and if you'll recall, you directed Marie not to send them to me anymore.
I was I directed her not to send you our payroll receipts, but maybe there's a miscommunication, which may have been created by me. So my apologies. I'll try to fix that.
Melissa, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
About the funding agreement, at least your thoughts on it. I suspect part of Teresa's inquiry on the budget breakdown in the funding agreement has to do with one, first of all, is there a breakdown? And two, how strict will the board need to comport with that as we move forward? We're trying to get a detailed budget outline here with Ethan. He's working on it. It's looking good. You know, we'll get to where, you know, board wants it. And if you're seeing what we're doing here, will that be okay? Or do we need to take a look at what that funding agreement says and stick with that for this year?
Well, I'd like to see what you guys are doing to assess whether or not we need to do a budget modification or something similar to that. And without the benefit of the state on the line, the one line item that I think cannot be changed is the one-time only money that was directed from the legislature. So the other categories and amounts we could work to change, but I don't know that the state could change the one-time only money. But I'm not speaking for the state. I just want to make that clear.
So we need to pay attention to that one-time only funding, so Ethan, if we make sure we capture that in that breakdown. So it sounds like we can continue to work through our process and come up with the outline and breakdown that meets our need, and then provide that, and then we can take a look at that with the tribe and the state and decide whether or not the funding agreement has to be modified. I don't think we're talking in terms of dollar amounts. I don't think we're talking about changes. I think we're talking about how the budget outline looks.
Yes, it would be, yeah. And it's just pretty broad categories of, you know, staffing costs, operating costs, one-time only money.
Okay.
But there are categories underneath each one of those. And those amounts could be adjusted. We'd have to talk about whether or not a budget modification is necessary, but we'd be happy to do that. I'd be happy to do that.
That's helpful.
Okay.
Much appreciated. Thank you for sending that.
And I didn't realize you guys didn't get that. I'm sorry.
I know that it came to me to sign, but when I signed it, I don't know. I have to go back and look. I don't know that I actually saw funding agreement. I saw something, just electronic signature. So that you send it is fine. It's
Okay.
It has it, so we appreciate that. So thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions from board members for Melissa? We have her. Thanks, Melissa.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion on the budget at this time?
Mr. Chairman, board members, what I need to quickly determine, and this will require, I think, an email confirmation from the chairman and the vice chairman, is what amount of money we need to set up for an automatic transfer from on a monthly basis from the money market account to the operating account. We have a solid month before we have to figure that out. And but we haven't it is spec'd out. That's how we would do it in the resolution for the board's bank accounts. And again, the intent is that anybody who has access to the routing or the accounts for the operating budget would have access to a limited amount of the total board funding structure, right? And that additionally, the money market helps us by earning interest. That said, we do need to pick an amount that will automatically go over so that, that's close. If we're a little off or we have one-time expenses, it will just require a signature from 2 of us 3. Because that's where we've left it, is that we have 3 signatories on these accounts, and that moving money out of the money market account, we've all agreed so far through that resolution that 2 of us would sign that kind of an action.
So. Roger, any thoughts? Initially?
Well, not like. Correct. Or you could do,
And a recommendation. One of the things, in addition to that, one of the things that I might suggest is that we consult with the bank where the funding resides and look at how much projected interest is, and it's as a percentage. We don't want to go over that interest either, because we want it to continue to grow. So in addition to Roger's thought, that amount, we should make sure we compare that to what that interest is. So I was throwing numbers out, don't know what the interest is. So if the interest is 5 or 6%, we're withdrawing 4%, or if it's 4%, we're withdrawing 3%. It's still growing, and as long as we're meeting our projected needs, I think that would be a little bit iterative, but that's the way I'd approach it. So that'd be my suggestion. Any other thoughts from board members? Okay, understand.
I like the more conservative approach because the, if there are legs in timing or transfers of funds, we need to be able to meet our obligations and restaurants got to meet those deficits.
The other thing I don't know, we'll have to read the agreement. The other thing I don't know is that even though we've got the money market account, does the agreement say it's sort of a zero sum game? We have to spend it all, or is it allowable that we allow it to continue to grow so that we have that? And I think we should be there, but we want to keep an eye on that in that agreement. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Comment?
Or
Oh, yeah. Yep. Well, they gotta change it when they get the money over. That is a unfortunate common error for me to,
Well, I see you have
Makes sense.
sheet 1, 2, and 3. Did we see all 3?
yeah, you don't have any, there's no good information for you on sheet 1 and 2.
Where was the other summary that you showed?
The other summary is our ongoing, we have
I think that one.
our
Yeah.
ongoing, budget, that is, these are realized, expenses and what feed our projected expenses. Okay. And, it's also just to let you know that we are, keeping track of things. So, this stuff, you guys want to have access to these folders, we can do that. Like, if you want to be able to look in these, just don't tinker.
Yeah, my question. So back to, well, this one and then the one previous.
Uh-huh.
My question for the board is, do you want that sent to you at this time, recognizing fully that it's incomplete and a draft? Would you like to have this right now? Seeing all.
Just trying
Yes.
to, food for thought and comment. And I know it's a work in progress, but at some point, like certain board members may choose to have access to certain folders and information. But I would think that at a minimum, on a quarterly basis, that we get financial reports that we accept through a formal motion. There's some, that would be my recommendation, that we be rather formal about those quarterly financial reports that presented to the board, we accept them.
We want to come up with a quarterly financial report that meets our needs and approve that and then have that presented for.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you want to see anything at all monthly? This is a question for board members. So does the board members want to see anything at all monthly? Quarterly after. As we're thinking about this, so yeah, Ethan.
Right now, if we could leave it at what Marie produces, it'd be convenient because I'm pretty understaffed to provide additional reporting. And so she's got a standard QuickBooks output of the expenses. And you know, I mean, I'm happy to like dive in a little deeper on
How often?
Quarterly. I've got the quarterly reports and
So could we get the last one?
Yeah.
So we can take a look and see if that format, because that maybe if we want more or less, then we can at least. So if we can get the last one, that would be appreciated. So, reporting, the question mark I have there, you know, we got reporting to the state, perhaps, so if we could see whatever that is now, did Melissa say that there's monthly reporting?
I do have monthly reporting also. And
that's what,
that's an
Is that-
arrangement that we have through Marie.
is that different than that quarterly report?
It's all the same information. It's just a different time step.
Okay. So, okay, so is that clear? Same information. Same information, just that it's monthly versus quarterly, so when you see that, you'll know what's going in monthly. So we have a hand up, I see a hand up, who is it that? So, Maya, how are you?
Hi. Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I would just like to add, I was able to speak to Arnie Wick regarding the question a few minutes ago, regarding the one-time funding. Sorry that this is a little later in the conversation. I did my best to get this information to you as timely as possible. Arnie confirmed that the one-time only funding from the state was in fact specifically for vehicles, technology, and other startup costs for the board office. And he said if there's a need for more specification than that, then he can provide that. But probably the best form of communication would be email.
Is it, do you know, is it specified in the funding agreement, or is there some other document that specifies what that one-time funding is for?
I do not know if it is specified in a document, but he did make it clear that that is what the funding is for. So my assumption it would be that it's documented somewhere, but I do not know the specific piece of documentation where that is listed.
We should keep that in mind and decide to get that. Thank you.
Thank you,
What-
Mr. Chair.
What if, you know, following the bouncing ball here, what it's sort of leading me to ask ourselves is, where are we going to land with audit requirements? I still do not know whether the tribe and or state are going to have independent audit requirements, or are they going to jointly require an independent audit? And even if they do not, what kind of audit requirement do we want to self-impose? So kind of circular there. I don't think we have an answer today, but that keeps coming to mind for me. Is that discussion about where we want to be with audits, and I'd like to make that inquiry to the state and try to see, is there something, so with Maya and Melissa both on the line, maybe I just ask the question now. And if you don't know the answer, that's something you can find. Is Melissa still on? No.
Mr. Chairman, board members, I have talked about the auditing issue with Melissa and with Arnie, and their present approach is that the reporting that we would be doing suffices and they don't have anything additionally asked for at that time. I also did inquire from our accounting folks what a separate audit looks like, and it will be a substantial expense. You know, I'm not trying to impose any resistance, just it would be something that I need to factor into the budget to bring in, because the accounting folks can't provide an independent audit. And
Yeah, and I don't know that we're, so when you say you spoke with Melissa and Arnie about it, and they say our financial reports.
that's what's asked for right now in the funding agreement. Yes.
Okay, is adequate for them.
You know, yeah, that, Mr. Chairman, that may change if there's some catalyst of an issue, like money comes up missing from the account or something like that. That would be an obvious, you know, change in the approach, but it's a fairly straightforward budget, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, and the reports that they're talking about are the ones we just discussed that are monthly and quarterly that come from our accounting firm.
Yeah, at the last discussion, that was my understanding, but I also didn't realize that that we stopped giving those over, so I'll rectify that.
Yes, question.
Just look that up, question up, and there is a federal requirement to conduct an independent audit if a nonprofit expends $750,000 in a single year. So then the question is, how do you find the
And portion of federal funds in,
Well, nonprofit, we're not nonprofit now, we don't make a profit, but we're government. What's it called?
Instrumentality, sir.
Instrumentality, so we're government. So that may or may not make a difference, but I think it's worth continuing that discussion. So we can decide whether or not we do, and it may cause an expense, but maybe we do it once every 2 years. I don't know. I'm just a thought. So we need to at least keep that, I think, discussion in the back of our mind, recognizing that at least for now, state and tribe are satisfied with, under the funding agreement, the financial reports that are coming from our auditors.
I myself favor some sort of an outside look every couple of years. I think that goes to public trust, and but not every year certainly, but maybe at a certain level.
And not being auditor or accountant, when I say audit, maybe there's different levels of audits. Right, you know, and well, it might be expensive. I know that it's expensive when government agencies ask for audits of programs and so on and so forth. You know, kind of detail they go into, but maybe there's different levels of audits that may be more or less expensive. Something to think about.
Almost a certified financial statement if you're in CPA might be a good idea, and might be less than the cost of a full audit. So they kind of certify your end balances and review. So that might be something to consider.
Yeah. Very good. Anything else on the budget you want to talk about today. With my understanding, you don't want to receive any of this at this time, which is fine. I just wanted to check. All right. Any more on the budget? One forward. All right, 6.2, office operation updates. Anything you want to provide us?
Mr. Chairman, board members. We have a couple of questions on implementing a few items that we've been waiting on. I'd like to bring up if that's possible. Number one, the sign for the door. We're having a hard time deciding if we should leave the full wording of Flathead Reservation Water Management Board or just use the logo for the sign, because the words would be pretty small up on this, because there's a lot of words in Flathead Reservation Water Management Board. That said, I didn't want to modify an item that you had given your consideration on without talking it over. We can put the small words, 2.5 inches was the tallest we could get that. And then it still hung down a little bit lower than we'd like. So
Yeah. Can we just go with the FRWMB? Yeah. Yeah, for now.
all right, thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. Next item is that we have tried to reach out to the landlord and she has not answered us about testing for mold. We do have a funky smell from the basement. It is about to have heating seasons upon us. Our last best estimate for the expense was about $900.
The,
Call it $1,000.
yeah, my thought, I think a month ago, was to also see if we could get that technical assistance from the tribal maintenance. I don't know where that is.
Mr. Chairman, I've not been in contact with the tribal maintenance head.
Can you, or would you like me to? I'm not sure how you.
I have left some messages. You might need to
Left
help us
message.
along.
Or if it's so inclined, I can try to follow up on it.
Next item, Mr. Chairman, board members. We, our office would like you to look at the website, and we are soliciting at this time. James is going to send around a link to the updated website. We're going to solicit any comments that you might have at this time. We'd like to put a pin in it by date for your comments, and unless we had something egregious, we are interested in looking towards publication.
Is it something that we can throw up right now?
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm just questioning how technically difficult that is, since we're here.
It's thrown up. Sounds bad. I guess I need to share my screen or something. Is it shared? All right. I'm sure. Oh, there we go. There's all these things in the way. Let's see. Okay, there's a lot of busyness that's from the Zoom meeting up there at the top. apologies for that, but, the website, we have a couple of pictures that we can't modify without the website designer, and she is on it, and those would be these ones that are actually pictures of the tribe's water measurement team. And we'll have those fully addressed before we go to publication, and we'll replace those. All right. Did that just happen? Okay, so so we're actively working on this, of course. We think that this tool is essential to get us out and independent for noticing of meetings and publishing of information. You know, we've got let's just do the homepage first. You know, a little blurb. We've tried to sort of slim things down and retain the feel that we think the board members wanted. You know, we have a calendar. This is where our meetings would occur or show up. Little what we do, permits, changes, enforcement of water rights, what we don't do.
You should add, do not control the wastewater.
I thought that. I almost expected it to be there.
We thought about it. It's not without question. It's a nice, straightforward homepage with links in here. There's a nice how-to section, you know, and all of these are hyperlinked to our various pages. Of course, as soon as I start clicking, you know, it's a website, you know, so I'll start spinning this around, but
Roger, did you want a specific one?
Well, I was gonna say, the find the water right, what happens? Oh, you default.
well, this is the water right query page, and where there's no other way to go. You know, whether or not whether or not you guys want to make a pitch to get your logo in here somewhere is that's up to the board. But
In finding it though, and I think we might want to add something there that makes it clear that this is done for us, because otherwise it's, you know, it's going to potentially cause confusion for people who are looking for water. Oh, I'm just going to DNRC. This is actually being done
where was that section at?
for our work. So I don't know how to characterize that or how to make it look, but somebody might.
Hey, Chairman,
Yes.
there is going to be a section where people who have applications with our office, they will be able to see those applications that have been received, and we'll keep a running list on our website of current and specific part of it.
And so when to find a water route goes to the DNRC page. So let me ask, why are we going to the DNRC page?
That is the only place where we have a portal to the main water rights information system. And that is what we've been spending an ungodly number of hours trying to
So it's because
arrange.
states agreed to operate the database. State is going to operate the database, including the database for the platted reservation water.
Yep. It's all going to be commingled because you can't, I mean, that is what unitary management
Right.
here was all about.
So my thought is
Yep.
when you open that, maybe there should be a statement that says that.
Okay.
Even though you're going to DNRC, maybe something there somewhere that says,
Because people might think they're in the wrong spot,
yeah,
because our logo is not there, or we don't have a statement of shared
Can you capture that for us? All right.
This, you know,
I'm also, James,
I'm not sure how to, I mean, I'm not sure I'm making sense.
you are making sense. We know what you want.
A pop-up window?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe,
Okay.
maybe.
Mhm.
But it's the language that I'm thinking about. What do we say? And I think it's, the idea is that, you know, to give the reason why, is because the NRC under the compact operates the database on behalf of Flight Reservation Land Management, something to that effect. I'm just, am I making sense?
Yes, yes, if I may.
Yeah.
When you land on that page, depending on who you are, the lack of that information or the lack of our logo lends to those folks who are questioning the legitimacy. And just not to put too fine a point on it, but
Mhm.
I would like to stop that as soon as possible.
So that would be helpful.
When we go here to the water right application forms, you find the forms that,
Is the only way to see him is to download it? Right, that is the only way to see it to download. So if you.
now this is in the
if
web.
Somebody opens that up and clicks that, it says download. Can they just look at it without downloading it? Okay.
Right there.
It opens in an external window and then you have the option to download it from there.
So, or you can print
So
it.
just clicking download doesn't download.
Right.
Okay, that's what it looks like.
This is the download. Well, we can
That's what it did look.
Interactive form?
This,
all of our forms are
Can you
interactive.
fill it out? Okay.
that's section.
Oh, that's not for everybody.
Where it's-
I do work here.
So if it's in our.
So yeah, you can enter things in right here and then print the thing out, and you cannot e-sign. We don't allow that. We require original signatures.
So how does this work? They go, they fill it out, and then they have to print it?
Got to print it, write a check, or bring it in here with cash, and we date stamp it, and it goes right in the hopper, and we move it in on average a week.
I mean, I know I have to do this. I'm not technologically savvy. I don't know how to open this up. I need to do this. How's somebody gonna do it?
Well, if you're not technologically savvy, you're probably not going to be here. You're going to walk into our office, and Christy's got a printed out form, and she spends a ton of time doing this. James does too. Well, okay, this is your name. Yep. And sits and helps them fill it all out and figure out where all their information is. So there is a spectrum of different types of client needs that we are already accommodating. This is for your, we'll just call them millennials for now, Mr. Chairman.
For people who know how to do it.
Right.
No, it's just a question. I mean, not
Yep.
challenging anything. You're just.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't feel challenged. So,
I feel
yep.
like I'm understanding.
But this is a convenient clearinghouse of all of the forms that this board has approved to use to date, and with an explanation of the forms. Of course, if board members wanted to get really detailed on wording changes, just a recommendation is that you could actually start a Microsoft Word document, and you could copy the link right here on the page. It's a little hidden by the Zoom meeting, but you could copy, oh, there we go, a link from the page. You could paste that in your Word document, and then you could just copy the language that you think needs to be changed, stick it in there, and do a track change, and you give us that document. We can make those changes easy that way. Or if you want to do it some other way, you can walk in here. James will sit down with you, and we can go through it. Whatever works for the board members. The deal is it is a lot of there's a lot of pages. We have worked on it a lot. I know we have typos in it, so it'd be like a little seek and find, a good time.
So thank you for opening this up for now. So has the board seen enough for now? And your intention was to send us links so we can start to review it?
My intention is to do that, and also to solicit the board to set a kind of a drop dead date for comments on the website, so that we can establish a publication date, that's our ultimate hope. And furthermore, Mr. Chairman, board members, if we published with a few inaccuracies, we think that at this point is better than not publishing at all. So just to let you know, we don't have anything we think is is a horrific crime on this website in terms of typos or anything at this point, but we do think establishing a presence is good.
Even did you put our earlier FAQs up there that were published, or they on the website?
They are, and so we can go to the FAQ. And I'm not plugged into the hardwire, so I'm a little slow, but here we go. We've got information. We were talking about this just today because we're like, well, we've got this actual number of water rights that's a much bigger number now. And but a lot of this information is still very consistent. And James, I'm not sure what happened up here with our, this is something weird, something's gone a little awry with these drop downs. There's a big space with this and here that, that's a new encounter. This used to look a little tidier. So we're going to get that straightened out as, like I said, we're going to actively do things. I also do ask the board members, when you go onto the site, just frequently go ahead and hit this refresh button, because as changes occur, you'll be able to see those changes live. And
not to get ahead of ourselves, but when do we anticipate our next regular meeting? Just trying to think, is that a long enough time frame for us to review this or at least get it to where we can cover?
We were in our ambitious office, Mr. Chairman. We thought we might be able to notice the next meeting on the board's website, but perhaps that is my ambition talking. I'd set October 5th as a consideration for the next board meeting in this agenda, when that is not been discussed by the board members or anything at this point. So
if we had comments to even by the week of the 25th, is that doable? And if that was done, then we have available to utilize in October meeting. I don't know. If
we can try to take a run at it. We're going to co-publish on the state and the tribe's websites anyway, because this is brand new.
That was my thought. So
Yeah.
How much lead time do you need?
We take the 25th? You want to go sooner? What do you want?
I mean, I'm just trying to work with your thinking as well. So I don't know if that works or not.
That would work. I can schedule with our website designer if there's a big structural change that we move the website.
Then worst case is it doesn't, then we got a little more time to tweak it.
Yep. And if board members are like done before that time, then you just were to tell us, that'd be handy.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't have to wait for the silent passage of the 25th.
Will that work? Yes. With everyone? Okay. Okay, well, let's talk about that scheduling right at the end, so that was just a target, so, Georgia, 25th,
Yes.
good, sir?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, we will shoot, no later than the 25th, have our input on the website. So you will send us the link on the website as of tomorrow, today? Cool.
Yeah, I will,
And when we open it, it's not a public site yet, it's just for us to look at.
that's true.
Okay. All right,
Um,
yes, come on.
I just want to say, I love how it looks. My concern was that it would be look too institutional, you know, when we first started this conversation, so well done.
James gets the lion's share of that. Well done. All I did was say, it's gotta be simple. It's gotta be simple. It's gotta be more
I
simple.
like to keep it simple.
Delete this, delete that.
Keep it simple because
but-
it's complicated enough.
Vice Chairman is too simple. He's gone overboard on the we need to get your your CV information in here, and so James made me say that I would call you out, and then Ken, I believe you were going to give us some updates also.
And just because of those pictures, I think your updates have to say something about this fish.
Yeah.
If not, you need another picture. No, I'm joking.
I want to get a new picture of the fish.
Well, you can do a new picture if you want. Just
And fish guys beside each other, because that just draws more attention to the.
well, we just I don't know. I mean, we were like, well, the order of things. I have a dog on mine.
There you go, that's.
Ethan, any more?
On the website? Nope. Yeah, I do have other things on our update. We have taken some fairly extensive action on personnel actions with the office, and I have some of those personnel folders here if board members want to view those.
When you say personally come about hiring?
No, I'm talking about our existing staff. We have over time, you've authorized me to take some personnel actions, and I've got those done and documented to the way I think this board was asking, and that includes everything from moving into a balanced PTO arrangement with staff, enacting certain promotions and pay changes, enacting certain stipends, all things that this board has done, getting detailed position descriptions signed, and verified performance appraisals are done.
On that topic, just the question,
Yep,
do you have yours?
my performance appraisal.
In PD?
Yep, Melissa sent it to me last time.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
And, have you been able to, we'll talk about that. We want to make sure you had it. And I think if she sent it, I'm not sure it has it, just to make sure.
Sure, no problem.
So all these personnel items then, at least for now, with the newly appointed personnel committee, will take time to take a look at those. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
No, no, Mr. Chairman. Nothing on my update.
Okay, take 5. And then we can try to close in and close the rest of the meeting. Please. Thanks.
Sure. There you go.
Okay, we're back from our break. For anybody who's still online, welcome back. Okay. So where do you want to go for the rest of this meeting? I know there's some personnel, policies. But we also talked about some additional executive session discussion here. So let me ask you this, Ethan, before we decide, is there a burning personnel policy item we need to address today, or is it? Because we could try to spend it 4 hours on personnel policy, but I don't think we're ready to do that.
Mr. Chairman, board members, we have got to deal with the personnel policy at some point. The key issues, I guess, that I probably am up against is I'm still operating under uncertainty about comp time. I have, I think, what's probably an agreeable drug-free workplace policy for everybody, but it seems like I had enough for purposes of hiring, at least, at our last meeting.
You know what would help me out is if we got a copy of this in advance so that we could review it. And also just so that we could go back and look at what we've already accomplished. So if you could circulate that.
Can we permit to serious time personnel policy at our next or a special meeting? Okay. Well,
Can you email this also?
You want one of these? Yeah. Looks like I'm a little short here.
I know you're about the same size you were before.
You guys are definitely making me shorter. We need 2 more copies.
We need one.
And then
Just
the-
go get the candidate's email one to me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
You will notice.
Georgia, it's fine.
Yep. We'll print that out now. One thing that you will notice on the personnel policies is that it is color coded on things that are updated and things that have been approved and on what date that action happened. And we're happy to mail it around. Let's do it on a separate email, please. And just so we have a consolidated topic. Thank you. And make sure that it's that most recent one that's saved in today's folder, and that you know, everybody should know that there are still comments embedded in the digital form. But when we did the thing out, if you leave the comments in, you know, so I'm not trying to exclude anybody's comments, but you can't read the paper when it gets printed out otherwise.
So I take it, we want to just move to our executive session. Unless somebody's burning to tackle some personnel issues today.
Just clarification, if you know, read it and be ready for discussion.
Yeah, and I think you have, I'm sure in your head, sort of, you know, the next 1, 2, 3, 4 items you wanted to get to in order. If you would send us an email saying which are the next ones in line you'd like to tackle.
Sure. Have you already sent out the email? I'll send it out and I'll put the bulleted list and the reference right on there. So
we can
okay.
focus on those.
Yep.
In addition to the rest, we can put some special focus on those. All right. Yeah, all right, very good. So I don't remember the precise question, but for, continuing on with some personnel discussion, I think we want to say that, privacy outweighs the need for public knowledge. That is exactly what we want to go ahead and go back and do an executive session before we wrap up our meeting today, or do you want to wrap up the meeting? And do executive? Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about, any board updates.
We have one short one.
Okay, go for it.
So just looking ahead into the fall quarter. If we continue this meeting on Thursdays, I have a lab on Thursdays that goes to 12:20. So if we start our meetings at 1, I'm cutting it a little bit.
We kind of moved to 1 for whatever, I think we were trying to extend some time, but I think we were meeting at 2. So is that something you want to go back to? 2 o'clock start time?
2 to win, Mr. Chairman.
I could easily be here by 9:30 if that is a compromise, if that helps.
30 to 5:30? Does that work? All right, Kane? Okay. 30 to 5:30. Okay, so then in terms of the next meeting, October 5, so let's look at calendar. You want to have a different day, or go ahead and meet on the 5th and then do the forum? How do you want to do it?
I like to help you.
Well, that's a Thursday, so we'll have to pick another day or another week, so we prefer 14. On a Saturday?
Well, would be that.
So what if we went to the 6th?
Wait,
which is a Friday?
is the September 14th not the second Thursday?
We're talking about October.
Oh, okay.
I think because we are already, unless we're talking about another meeting in September.
I can't do this because I'm teaching a lab.
Just bring your students.
Yes.
I am, there is a AWRA annual conference in October.
Well, Wednesday the 4th. Okay, all right.
What about the third?
About the 3rd.
I think so. Yeah, maybe you can do it.
You think we can, I think, yeah. Roger's still looking.
What? Okay.
3rd.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
We have a lot of I think so, so we think so. We think on the 3rd.
And the timing on the 3rd would be,
I'm entirely flexible.
So we'll, let's try to get consistent, so 1:30, 5:30. 5:30. So, question, so now that we have that, so October 3rd. I mean, I don't have anything right now, but something's left to screw up my schedule. If it is, I'll let you know. Do you want to have before the 3rd special meeting to focus on personnel? And as it stands, unfortunately, the 21st at this time is out of the meeting.
What about the 14th?
From today.
I'm, trying to not be at this office next week. I could do the 11th. But wait, that's too short for us to even get the notice out.
Yeah, 11th is out for me also.
Okay.
28th. We pushed it from the Thursdays.
You do the 28th in the morning, would have to be done by noon. Or
The special meeting we can meet anytime.
Mr. Chairman, board members, just to double check on something, and apologize here in advance, if I'm missing something, but you designated a new committee for personnel, right? I don't know. I just, maybe the board should tell me what the expectation is on the personnel committee and the personnel, policy. If there's an interplay there, maybe there's not. I don't know the answer to that. I'm just trying to feel it out, but maybe I meet with is there a chance that committee could preload some of the personnel work, or do we need to go through those personnel policies do you need to go through those personnel policies as an entire board?
This is our personnel committee thing.
I thought we had kind of two things occurring at the same time. So I thought that the personnel committee would spend some extra time evaluating the personnel policies, the status of where they are right now. But we also needed a board meeting.
And I don't mind the approach we've been taking. I think we need to put some focus time so we can make a little more progress, because we've been able to meet and then, continue to pick off these items. So, I think if at this point, as far as personnel policies go, we're good keeping it with the full board for now? Okay. And so given that, do you want a special meeting or not? If not, we can't fit in a special meeting, then I'm anticipating that on October 3rd, we'll devote a healthy chunk of time on the 3rd to personnel policy.
Mr. Chairman, board members, not trying to overcomplicate the matter here. Perhaps for this scheduling event, we might just briefly go over the board's main objectives that they'd like to get handled here in the near future. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is that it may help to inform whether or not that the meeting on the 3rd could be dedicated to something else, or maybe and I have a couple of items that I can bring up that are things that you might want to consider attending to. Certainly assignments that I just got, which would be the subdivision documentation, which that'll eat up some time. We do have a working draft towards development domestic allowances that's moving. That budget will be developed by 8/3, the Office of the Engineers proposed budget. So those 3 items alone could certainly consume some time. So I, again, just not trying to interject to make things more complicated, but if we think about the total items, and this board may have things that I have not thought of at present that they wanted to bring up here that needed to be more immediately addressed.
Let's talk about conceptual agenda items for the 3rd. Personnel policy. Let's assume personnel policy is one of them. The personnel. What else? Budget.
We can, yes.
And you had a couple other items.
Yes, sir. I was assigned to get Haley in on the mix for discussing the subdivision review of existing water rights.
Well, the DEQ.
Yeah, the DEQ thing. Sorry for late in the day for butchering the words on that. And additionally, we have we're getting close on a working draft for development domestic allowances. And I'm getting a ton of pressure in my office to kick something out the door.
There's 4
Yeah.
items. Can you do those 4?
Mr. Chairman, I do not think you can do those 4 items at a meeting. I really slimmed down this meeting. And we had really budget and personnel.
Well, let me,
Do we ever go longer? Do we
let me,
ever-
yeah, we can. Let me ask this. So budget wise, by the time we get to the next meeting, how much more are we gonna see than we saw today?
So I'm gonna want to have a fixed like budget.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
that I will have distributed in advance because I need to do the hiring.
it will be the first time we've seen that. You know, it's been a little bit of time. The domestic allowance draft, I'm assuming we do that ahead of time.
Yep.
So anything we get ahead of time is gonna speed up that process. And then the legal DEQ discussion, and that doesn't take too long. So. Well, we're shooting for, I think we're shooting to get our comments to them by the 25th.
So we could edit the whole line.
Yeah, I mean, unless we get the stop, we've kind of already got the mandate to publish the web. So, obviously nobody's going to go ahead if any board member says a no-go. All right. So if there's a no-go item on there, we're going to pause. But in terms of the authorization, we've got a contract in place and the board has taken decisive action on that. So as long as we get I would anticipate that we would publish the website after the comment phase again, unless if a board member was to give us a no-go, we're gonna pause. So don't think that there's not opportunity for the board in between now and the end of the comment period to tell us no, but
It almost seems like we need meeting.
Yeah.
To hammer out.
Those dates. I think we just throw this out that for our 2 committees that we established. That if the committees want to propose, once you've met and had some time to discuss, want to propose a date for discussion or an executive session, let us know, let the board know. We can do that. Does that make sense? Will that work? So in terms of personnel yet, that we've got so far over through regular meeting, we don't, I'm assuming we should probably spend some time on personnel, but if we want to extend or enhance that discussion, we probably do want to have a special meeting, so either before or after third. We,
Does anybody still want to come?
26.
Checking in, what about an all-day meeting on the 3rd? And we make sandwiches and stuff like that one time. I don't know.
How about Saturday, the 16th?
Saturdays are also always obviously more open, except for your personal time. I'm certainly not gonna push for that, and I will be saying, right on.
For the 15th, Friday, the 15th of September. Oh, she's back to her lap thing.
So Ethan had a thought. Any feedback on his thought?
Yep, the proposal is just maybe we could have an all-day meeting on the 3rd and lunch would be provided. And we could try it with that extra time. We did get a lot accomplished the one day that we started earlier. And I mean, board members, I'm sorry to, I know that's a lot in a day.
Yeah, no,
That's great.
Even what we should do, because
like it.
that day worked for us.
so when do you want to start? When do you want to end? Because I think we could hit the first, the budget, domestic allowance and legal discussion, and then get done and then take on the personnel policy stuff. So what if we started at 10, took care of those 3 items, and then after take on the personnel stuff? I just thought.
These goals for me.
I like it.
What would we say 10 to shoot? I mean, who knows? 10 to 4 or 10 to 3? 10 to 5?
Those days are good because we get in the zone. We get a lot done. So.
We can always quit sooner, it's just a matter of what we advertise, so we want to quit sooner, we quit, so we want to do 10 to 5. Roger, think.
Yeah, that. On the agenda.
We could add it to the agenda, if we don't have anything, we don't.
Okay.
Want to do that? Sure. So couch that under a subset of personnel.
And then can we have a placeholder, Mr. Chairman, for an executive discussion if we need? Sorry.
So we need 2 placeholders, one for executive session and one for insurance. Are we still working on 10 to 5? There, one yes.
Yes.
10 to 5.
I won't eat the morning.
What? Here for the real fun.
Yeah.
Okay. October 3, 10 to 5. Personnel, budget, domestic allowance, legal, and placeholders for insurance and executive session. Fair? All right. Got it? All right.
Good.
Staff back there all excited about that.
Are you doing on time? Okay.
All right, that was next steps. Before we go into executive session, I will, since we will take no action in executive session, just one particular item we talked with. I think you were going to answer a question for Roger, so Motion to adjourn. Motion adjourned by Roger. Second by Ken, all in favor, say aye. Aye, all right. We'll let them go, and Ethan, I guess we have a.